Hello guys, today we're going to be working on this cooktop GE stove. The complaint is that the glass is cracked and it needs to be replaced. Welcome to DIY Repair Now. Read all the warnings, and during this video you will see one or more of these icons to help you do this repair safe. The first thing we're going to do is pull the stove out to be able to get to the back and disconnect the stove to avoid electric shock, or turn it off at the breaker just as a precaution. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the screws that are holding this glass in the back. Some of the screws already have been removed because somebody already worked on it, but if the screws are there, go ahead and remove them. Now we're going to go ahead and remove these 4 screws in the bottom of this panel. They are 1/4 screws, by the way, and now we see that nothing moves, so we're going to go ahead and remove the 4 knobs to see what's behind it. And once we remove the knobs, we notice there's another 4 knobs that are holding the panel in place. Now I'm using my channel locks to be able to twist them counterclockwise to start removing the 4 knobs. They are plastic, and you can, once you start it up with the channel locks or any pliers that you have, just unscrew it counterclockwise and they will come right out. Once you remove all 4 knobs, this piece of panel comes off, and now we have another panel behind it because that other one was just kind of a cover. Now this panel is held by another 4 1/4 screws. Once you remove these 4 screws, you're going to be able to pull this part of the panel out. Go ahead and take pictures before you remove any wiring, because you might need those pictures during that repair. Now, as you can see, it's a lot of wiring, and now I'm going to go ahead and start disconnecting all the wiring that are going to the burners, which is the part that we're going to be replacing. Go ahead and disconnect all these harnesses because they go to the glass top that we are going to be replacing today. Now you can keep disconnecting wires. Go ahead and, like I said before, take pictures. Now I'm gonna keep saying it because those pictures might save your life down the road. Now in my case, I got it loose at this point, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and use a zip tie to hold this panel in place right there, because I don't feel like disconnecting any more wires if it's not necessary. However, you can keep disconnecting and remove the board completely out of the way, but I do it this way, and you can follow this video if you want to go ahead and do it my way. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove 6 screws that are, or 6 screws that are holding this plastic bracket that is that's where the main computer board and the display board sits. Once you got it loose, I'm just going to lean it towards the other panels, and I'm gonna go ahead and start removing the glass top. You're gonna remove 4 screws that are holding the glass on the front. I don't remember if it was like 2 or 4 screws. I believe there's like 2 screws in the front. Now once you do that, just follow the wiring, and you'll see there is the wirings go through that hole right there, but they are tied to this kind of zip tie, and you have to push this clip down. You can either push it down and remember to put it back in place. Once you finish the repair, go ahead and put it back the same way. Now this is the part. If we got the part number, it's going to be linked in the description of this video, and the part is going to be linked in the description of this video as well. So if you need this replacement, if you got the same exact model, just go to the description of the video. You will find more information there. Once we do the unboxing, we're going to compare, make sure we got the right part. Always be careful with sharp edges, because all this metal parts, and now you're dealing with the glass, it can be kind of dangerous for you if the glass start breaking apart. So just be careful with all those sharp edges and the glass. Now we're gonna go ahead and put them side by side. As you see, I got a cloth underneath the two parts because we are dealing here with a very delicate glass stove. Now I'm trying to remove this little box. This is the box that got the lights that is telling you when the burners are on or when they still warm after you finish cooking. That's where the lights are. So just look how it comes off and just wiggle it out. Sometimes it doesn't come off easy, or you might end up breaking one of those little tips and legs. They are holding it in position in place. I was able to get it out. This little piece broke, but it's still manageable to go back in place. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mark all these tabs. They are holding the burners in place. I'm using my screwdriver and I'm putting like a little scratch on each bracket. They are holding these clips. These clips, they are holding the burner in place. That's how I know where the clips go, but I would suggest to use a marker. I don't have a marker with me, so I'm just putting a little mark with my screwdriver. Now this is the way I remove the clips. I use my needle nose pliers because you can also do it by hand, but you might end up hurting yourself. You might end up cutting yourself in those metals. Always use gloves. Try to use gloves to do this type of repair. And also be careful while you use screwdrivers or a needle nose pliers or any kind of metal device, because remember that you are dealing with a glass top stove part. So if you by mistake got the any screwdriver or those needle nose in the glass, it can end up cracking the new glass. So you don't have to worry about the other one because the other one is already going to the garbage, but with the new one you have to be very careful. Now as you can see right here, I am switching all these clips into the new part like so, that way I don't make any mistake and I'm gonna end up saying no, this clip was here. Those clips, they're all the same, but I'm not taking any chances. The only one that's a little different is one of the clips that goes to the small burner, because the small burners is the small burner is not a perfect fit, so they use a different clip to hold it in place. And as you see, I use a screwdriver or my drill to remove this clip. This is the only one that has screws on it. So you will need a screwdriver or your drill to be able to remove the clip. Now, what I'm gonna do now is remove these other clips that are holding the wiring in place. It's one or two clips more. And now I'm gonna go ahead and lift these burners and switch them to the other stove. If you have somebody to help you, that'd be great. Otherwise, just put one burners on top of the other one and switch it to the other stove. Try to grab it this way. You see I'm not touching the heat element. You don't want to damage the heat element because that's where the parts heats up in the stove. Now as you see, I'm trying to keep my fingers out of the heat element, because otherwise you end up with a problem with the burners. And up to now, the burners are not an issue in this repair. It was just the glass that was broken. Now go ahead and put the burners in place, and you're gonna start putting the clips in place as well. Now as you can see, some of those clips will go in very easy. Some of them you will need a pliers to be able to lift it, push it with your thumb, and the other one insert it in place. You see how that one was very hard. Look at this one as well. They're kind of very tight. You need the needle nose to make it go in place. Always go by the marks that you put in the burner. Look at this one. This one goes in very easy, and I'm just using my hands. I'm not using the needle nose. So try to avoid using anything that it can damage the new glass, but if it's necessary, use your needle nose. This is the way I do it. If anybody's watching this video to do it any other way, you can go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section, and we all learn from different experiences. Now this is the only one. Like I told you, it has a different bracket, a different clip, and goes with a 1/4 screws. Now we're pretty much done here. Put in these clips. I'm working on my last burner, and up to now it looked like we got the right part for this repair. Sometimes there is a chance they might send you the wrong part, so always double check with the model number you got the right part for that repair. Now we're going to go ahead and sit this little box in place and just look around how it goes into a clips in place. It has like a 2 or 3 taps there. Have to click in place and it will stay there. No issues. Once you put the little box in place, make sure you got all the clips on and they all secure in place. You don't want none of these clips to come loose once you start working on it, because you're gonna have to remove everything again. You don't want that to happen. Now we're gonna go ahead and take our new glass top into the stove, and we're gonna fish and fit our wiring through that hole and sit the glass where it should be. Now once I start putting on, I notice there's 2 clips in the back. They have to align with the glass top to be able to sit in place right and secure in the back. Those tops in the back are the ones secure the back side of the glass top, and I'm going to show it to you right now. I'm going to pull this out, and as you see, there's 2 taps right there. They align with those other 2 that I'm touching right there. So now we're gonna go ahead and check, make sure all the wiring it's in place, everything is fine. And once you put it down, they have to align with the holes for these screws that are holding the front of the glass top. And if I remember correctly, it was 2 screws. Yep. Once you do that, we're gonna go ahead and start putting everything back together. And this is something very interesting that I find out. Look how I connect this 2 harness, and it goes in, and they're not the same colors. So this is the reason why I always tell you to take pictures, because some of these harnesses, some of these connections are identical, and just because it fits, that doesn't mean that's where it goes. So that was the wrong connection right there, and I'm going to let you know in a minute how it's supposed to go. Now over here I'm putting the black bracket, and I'm going to go ahead and start connecting this harnesses. And this is what I was trying to tell you. This is where it should go. See, I'm matching colors right now, and I didn't have that in the video, but I have to go on my phone and make sure I have it connected right. And sometimes, not because the colors are matching, that doesn't mean that's where it goes to. But at this point, I'm securing this panel, this black bracket, with the 4 or 6 screws that goes into the glass top. And as you see, those colors match, these colors match, and these other ones match, but some of these harnesses you can mismatch and they will go in. So just keep in mind and use your phone to take pictures, like I said a whole bunch of times. And these other two, I don't think it was necessary to disconnect this. So if you're doing this repair the way I did it, don't disconnect this too, because it was not necessary. I just did it because I thought those wires would go to the burners as well, but it didn't. Now I'm gonna go ahead and set this back in place, and once you do this, just go ahead and push the wiring in the same way you found it, because you don't want this wire to start pushing the display panel and the main control, or those wires start putting a stress to the main computer board. We don't want none of that. And as you can see, I'm trying to set it in place, but it's not going in easy, and it's because the wires on the inside and the bottom are all tangled, and it's preventing the board from sitting in place the way it's supposed to. So now, as you see, I put my hand there, push the wiring back, and it's set in place the way it's supposed to. Now I'm securing the board in place with these 4 1/4 screws. And now at this point, I'm doing this very cover panel and installing the knobs, installing the nut that is holding the this panel in place, like so, and use your channel locks. Try not to over tighten it, because it can strip, or it can pop something out, so you don't want that to happen. Just do the 2 on the sides first, and then do the 2 in the end by the display board. At this point, we're pretty much done here. Just doing this, go ahead and make sure you twist it right, because if it goes in wrong, you can over thread it, and that can be another issue. So just make sure it goes in by hand. Go ahead and install all 4 knobs that we removed earlier, like so. Now we're going to go ahead and pull the stove out to be able to have access to the back, and plug the stove in. If you turn it off at the breaker, go ahead and turn it on at the breaker, and make sure you got power. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the stove back in place. All right, guys, if this video helped you in any way, you can show us appreciation by giving us a tip using the following options that you see on the screen. If you cannot provide with a tip, is another way to support this channel by just dropping off a comment on the comment section down below. Subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the bell to receive notifications. Thanks for watching. Once you put the screws, that's it.